Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. This time we're tackling a figure from Celtic mythology, Lugh. And let me tell you, he's an intriguing one.
He really is. And we'll be using Morgan Daimler's book to guide us, Pagan Portals, Lugh, Meeting the Many-Skilled God. It's a great resource for anyone wanting to learn more about this multifaceted deity.
Multifaceted is right. The thing that's really captured my attention is that Lugh isn't just a warrior god. I mean, yeah, he's got those skills, but he's also a master craftsman, a musician, a healer, even a lawmaker.
It's true. He's often referred to as the Samel Danach, which essentially means the one skilled in all the arts.
Wow, skilled in all the arts. That's amazing. So we're not just talking about fighting skills here.
Not at all. Daimler lists a whole range of skills for him. Blacksmithing, music medicine, storytelling, sorcery, warfare, law, the list goes on.
It's kind of like he's this ancient Celtic superhero. So how did those skills play out in Lugh's myths?
Well, they were definitely put to the test in a lot of his stories, especially in the epic Battle of Mag Tuired.
Ah, yes. The battle where he goes up against his own grandfather, Balor, the Fomorian king. Talk about family drama.
Right. And Balor wasn't just any old grandpa. He was known for having this evil eye that could basically destroy anything it looked at.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be on his bad side. So how did Lugh manage to defeat such a powerful opponent? It couldn't have been easy.
It definitely wasn't. It wasn't just about brute force. Lugh had to use his strategic mind and his skills to outmaneuver Balor, and ultimately he defeated him using his special spear, a classic example of brains over brawn.
So it's not always about charging in head first. Sometimes we need to use our heads too.
Exactly. Lugh's victory is a great reminder that we all have unique strengths and that sometimes the smartest move is to think things through before taking action.
That's a good lesson for all of us.
Yeah.
But Lugh wasn't just about fighting and conquering, right? He's also connected to the harvest festival, Lughnasadh.
That's right. It's said that he initiated the festival to honor his foster mother, Tailtear, who died after clearing the plains of Ireland for agriculture.
So it's about more than just celebrating the harvest then.
Exactly. Lughnasadh symbolizes the balance between life, death, and renewal. It's about appreciating the hard work that goes into providing for ourselves and our communities, and remembering that abundance comes with responsibility.
There's definitely a deeper message there than just feasting on the first fruits of the harvest.
And speaking of responsibility, Lugh is also connected to the concept of sovereignty, isn't he?
Absolutely. He was tasked with protecting his people and ensuring the prosperity of the land. That sense of responsibility for the well-being of the community is a key part of his character.
It makes you think about how we can apply that to our own lives. What can we do to contribute to the well-being of our own communities? But Lugh wasn't working alone, was he? He had connections to other deities too, right?
Oh, definitely. He had relationships with his mother, Ethniu, his foster father, Manannán, who was the sea god, and the Morgan, who was a powerful warrior goddess, and sometimes an ally and sometimes not.
Wow, talk about a complicated family tree. But these relationships must have been important, right? They weren't just side characters in his story. Absolutely not. They demonstrate how Celtic deities were interconnected. They weren't just these isolated figures. They formed a complex web of relationships, each playing a specific role and influencing the others.
So it's like they're all part of this big cosmic family, each member with their own unique abilities and responsibilities.
Exactly. And that idea of interconnectedness extends beyond just the deities. It speaks to the Celtic understanding of how everything in the world is connected from the natural world to the human realm to the spiritual dimension.
That's fascinating. I'm really starting to see how Lugh's story and these Celtic myths offer a way of looking at the world that's so different from our modern perspective. It makes you want to dig deeper and uncover those hidden meanings and connections. But before we get too carried away, I have a question about symbolism. You know how in myths, objects and actions often have a deeper meaning? What about Lugh's gear? What kind of symbolism do we see with his spear, for example?
That's a great question. In mythology, nothing is arbitrary. Every detail is carefully chosen to convey a deeper meaning. Lugh's spear, for example, represents his skill, his precision, and his ability to act decisively.
And I can't forget about his connection to the sun. That's pretty hard to miss.
Right. The sun is a universal symbol of enlightenment growth and life-giving energy. Lugh's embodies those qualities, bringing light and warmth to the world, just like the sun nourishes the earth.
So Lugh's isn't just a skilled warrior. He's also a symbol of enlightenment and growth. It's amazing how these seemingly simple objects and concepts can hold such profound meaning. It makes me wonder how people connect with Lugh today. Is he still relevant in our modern world?
He is to many people, especially within the modern pagan community. There are a lot of people who find inspiration in his story and incorporate him into their practices.
So they're not just reading about Lugh in books, they're actively finding ways to connect with him and his energy.
Exactly. They might create altars dedicated to him, offer him things like mead or crafts they've made, or they might incorporate him into their meditations or prayers. It's about finding a personal and meaningful way to connect with his legacy.
So it's not necessarily about elaborate rituals or chanting in ancient Celtic languages.
Yeah.
It's more about finding a way to honor his spirit and what he represents in a way that resonates with you.
You've got it. And that's what's so beautiful about mythology. It's not about rigid doctrines or fixed beliefs. It's about finding your own personal meaning and drawing inspiration from these ancient stories in a way that enriches your life.
I'm really starting to see how these myths can be a source of inspiration and guidance, even in our modern world. It's like they offer us a glimpse into a different way of seeing the world and ourselves.
Yeah.
And Lugh, with his mastery of so many skills, his strategic mind and his connection to community, seems like a particularly inspiring figure to learn from.
He really is. And there's so much more to uncover about his story and his significance. But for now, let's take a pause and give our listeners a moment to reflect on what we've discussed so far. What aspects of Lugh's journey resonate with you? What sparks your curiosity? When we come back, we'll delve even deeper into his lasting legacy and explore what his story can teach us about living a more meaningful and empowered life.
That's a great cliffhanger. I'm definitely looking forward to part 2 of our Lugh deep dive. So listeners, stay tuned. We've got a lot more to uncover about this amazing Celtic deity.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the world of Lugh. I hope we've had a moment to ponder those questions about which aspects of Lugh's story stand out for you.
I know I have. And it really strikes me how much we can learn from these ancient myths about how to navigate our modern lives. It's like they offer this timeless wisdom that's still relevant today.
You're so right. And Lugh's story in particular is full of valuable insights. We've already touched on his incredible skills, his strategic thinking, his connection to community. What other lessons can we glean from this Celtic multitasker?
Well, we know Lugh faced some tough challenges. He wasn't just handed everything on a silver platter. He had to work for it and overcome some major obstacles.
Exactly. Think about how he was initially rejected by the Tuatha De Danann when he first tried to join them.
Right, because of his Fomorian heritage.
Mhm.
His mom, Ethniu, was a Fomorian, which basically meant she came from the tribe that represented chaos. Not exactly the best resume when you're trying to join the tribe of the gods.
Definitely not. But Lugh didn't let that stop him. He persevered and ultimately proved his worth through his actions and skills.
So it's a story about resilience, not giving up even when things get tough.
Exactly. And resilience is such an essential quality for anyone who wants to achieve their goals. We all face setbacks and challenges. It's how we respond to those challenges that defines us.
So Lugh is like the ultimate bounce back guy. He takes a hit, gets back up, and keeps going.
Exactly. And his story reminds us that we all have that capacity for resilience within us. It's about tapping into that inner strength and determination and refusing to let setbacks define us.
Like that saying, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. But I'm guessing Lugh's resilience wasn't all just about him being tough and strong. It was also about having the support of his community, right?
You've hit on a key point. While Lugh certainly possessed those exceptional skills and determination, he also understood the power of collaboration and community. He didn't try to do everything alone. He worked with others, drawing on their strengths and expertise to achieve common goals.
So it's not about being a lone wolf trying to go it alone.
Not at all. Lugh's story emphasizes the importance of working together, supporting each other, and pooling our resources to achieve something greater than we could on our own.
It's like that African proverb, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
I love that. And it's so true. We can accomplish so much more when we collaborate and support each other.
And Lugh, being the well-rounded guy that he is, he also reminds us about the importance of caring for our communities, not just ourselves.
Absolutely. Remember how Lugh initiated Lughnasadh, the harvest festival? It wasn't just about celebrating abundance. It was also about recognizing our interdependence and giving back to the community.
So how do we apply that today? Should we all start baking harvest bread and dancing around bonfires?
Well, that's certainly one way to celebrate. But the deeper message is about finding ways to contribute to the well-being of our communities. How can we use our skills and resources to make a positive impact? How can we support the people around us?
So it could be volunteering or mentoring or simply being there for a friend in need. It's
Hmm.
about recognizing that we're all part of something bigger than ourselves.
Exactly. And that sense of belonging and purpose is so important, especially in our modern world where people often feel isolated and disconnected.
It sounds like Luke is this incredible role model for living a well-rounded, empowered life. He's skilled, he's strategic, he's resilient, he's connected to his community. It's like he's saying, hey, modern humans take notes.
Right. And those notes are all about embracing our potential, honing our skills, facing challenges with courage, and recognizing that we're stronger together.
It's a powerful message.
Yeah.
But I have to admit, I sometimes struggle with applying these ancient myths to my modern life. I mean, these are stories about gods and goddesses, magical battles, and all sorts of fantastical stuff. How do we reconcile that with our modern scientific worldview?
That's a common question, and there's no easy answer. It comes down to how you personally interpret these myths. But I believe that even if you don't view them literally, there's still so much value and wisdom to be found in them.
So it's not about worshiping them or believing in them as literal beings.
Not necessarily. It's more about recognizing the universal themes and archetypes they represent, the human struggles they explore, and the insights they offer into the human condition.
So even if we don't believe in Luke as a god, we can still learn from his story and find inspiration in his qualities.
Precisely. It's about separating the literal from the symbolic, the mythological from the psychological. We can view these deities as representations of human potential embodiments of traits we admire and want to cultivate within ourselves.
So instead of asking, do I believe in Lu, the question becomes, what can I learn from Lu?
Exactly. It's about shifting our perspective from worship to inspiration, from fixed doctrines to finding our own personal meaning.
That's a really helpful way to think about it. So it's like these myths can be this incredible toolkit for personal growth. We can extract the lessons, the wisdom, the archetypal truths, and use them to shape our own journeys.
And I think that's one of the most beautiful and enduring aspects of mythology. It gives us a framework for understanding ourselves, our place in the world, and the challenges we encounter.
And Lu's story, with its focus on skill development, resilience, community, and personal empowerment, is particularly relevant for our modern times.
I agree. It's a message that speaks across cultures and centuries, reminding us that we all have the potential to live a life that is both fulfilling and meaningful.
So what's the takeaway for our listeners? Do we all need to build shrines to Lu and call on his name for good luck?
The takeaway is ultimately up to each individual. But I would say this loose story encourages us to embrace our potential, hone our skills, face challenges with courage and resilience, recognize the importance of our communities, and live a life that has purpose and meaning.
Those are some pretty amazing takeaways. And it
Mhm.
sounds like we've just scratched the surface of Lu's legacy.
We've only just begun to explore this multifaceted deity. But for now, let's pause and give our listeners a moment to process all of this. What resonated with you the most? What questions or insights came up for you? When we come back, we'll explore some practical ways to connect with Lu's energy and apply these lessons to our own modern lives.
And we're back for the final part of our deep dive into the world of Lu's. We've covered so much ground, from his impressive skill set to his strategic mind, and even his softer side, his connection to community and well-being.
It's been quite a journey, but now comes the fun part. Let's talk about how we can actually apply these ancient lessons to our own lives. How can we tap into our inner Lu and level up?
That's what I'm talking about. I love finding practical ways to make these ancient myths work for us in the modern world. So how do we do it? Where do we start?
Well, let's go back to that amazing title, Semeldonach, the one skilled in all the arts. Now, of course, we don't all need to become master blacksmiths, harpists, A&D warriors all at the same time.
Yeah, I'm not sure I have the bandwidth for all of that.
Right. But it does challenge us to think about continuous learning and growth. What are you passionate about? What skills have you always wanted to develop?
I've always wanted to learn how to play the fiddle. It just sounds so soulful and connected to those Celtic traditions we've been talking about.
That's a perfect example, and it doesn't have to be this huge, overwhelming goal. Start small, take a class, watch some tutorials online. The important thing is to enjoy the process. Remember, Luke approached everything with a sense of joy and mastery.
Okay, so step one is embracing that love of learning. What else can we do to channel our inner Luke?
Well, remember how Luke was such a brilliant strategist? He could size up a situation plan ahead and outmaneuver his opponents. Like in that battle against Balor, he didn't just charge in blindly, he used his head.
Right, he came up with a plan and executed it flawlessly. taking down that evil eye with one well-aimed shot from his sling.
Exactly. So how can we apply that strategic thinking to our own lives? Maybe it means getting really clear on our goals and breaking them down into smaller steps. Or perhaps it's about learning to manage our time more effectively.
So it's about being more intentional and thoughtful in our actions. Not just letting life happen to us, but actually taking control and shaping our own destiny.
That's it. Lugh didn't just sit around waiting for things to happen. He made things happen. And we can too. But we also can't forget Lugh's softer side, that connection to community and well-being that we talked about.
You mean like his role in Lughnasadh, the harvest festival?
Yeah.
Exactly. It wasn't just about celebrating the bounty of the harvest. It was also about recognizing the interconnectedness of all things, the importance of giving back to the community and honoring the cycles of life, death, and renewal.
So how do we bring that into our modern lives? Does everyone need to start baking harvest bread and doing a sun dance?
Haha. Well, those are definitely fun ways to celebrate Lughnasadh. But the deeper message is about asking ourselves, how can I use my skills and resources to make a positive impact? How can I support those around me?
So it could be volunteering or mentoring or simply being a good friend, lending a listening ear. It's about understanding that we're all connected and that we have a responsibility to each other.
You got it. And that sense of community, that feeling of belonging and contributing is so important. It's an antidote to that isolation and self-centeredness that can sometimes creep into our modern world.
Wow, this is amazing. We've gone from blacksmithing and harp playing to strategic planning and community building. It's like Lugh's story is this blueprint for living a fulfilling, well-rounded life.
It really is. And it reminds us that it's not about trying to do everything perfectly. It's about finding that balance, embracing our potential, and striving to live a life that has meaning and purpose.
Well said. So as we wrap up this deep dive into Lugh's world, what's the one message you hope our listeners take away?
I think it's this. Embrace your potential. Hone your skills. Face challenges with resilience. Connect with your community. And live a life that is both meaningful and purposeful. That's the essence of Lugh's legacy, and it's a message that resonates just as strongly today as it did centuries ago.
I couldn't agree more. So listeners, go out there and channel your inner Lugh, embrace that spirit of the Semildonic, and create a life that is both fulfilling and inspiring. And until our next deep dive, keep searching, keep learning, and keep growing.